Okay, part two of this. Last time I talked about these four lovely ladies being in the water. They were talking about the age gap. I think that was the video before this. I think this is the second one, or this is the same one. I'm not sure, but they're about to talk about um, their right to practice fornication. Okay, it's a stupid argument to me. Back in the day when I was a youngster, I used to wonder why all the pretty girls were outside the church, and the ones that weren't so pretty were in the church. And then when we had a real pretty girl in the church, she had to really be super spiritual, or people didn't know how to handle her. You know what I mean? I can mention even names I remember specifically. If you hear that crackling and plunching in the back, that's my butt. I took an extra dose of that metformin today, and it's not giving me a break. I done took gas pills, and that metformin is what you take to keep your sugar, to bring your sugar levels to normal. My doctor got me on it, and I gave up on it for a while, and then I realized I wasn't feeling any better. I feel normal now that I take it, but because I hadn't taken one at all yesterday on my day off, and today is my last day off. I took 2 pills today, and I see why you don't take 2 at a time. I see why they have a special. They have the high release or the quick release or whatever, that you can take 1 pill. Oh no, you can take 2 pills, and they're huge. You can take 2 pills at the same time in one day. These ones here, they're smaller. You're supposed to spread them out. Okay, but anyway, I remember back in the day, and the reason why there were no beautiful women in the church is because of this right here. Beautiful women felt ashamed to come to the church, okay, because of their fornication, because they were raised better to know. And back in the day, we weren't acceptable of it the way we are today. Like back in the day, if you were out there sleeping with your boyfriend, it was the norm back in the day. But back in the day, the way it was talked about wasn't the way it is today. It was totally different. You were considered a slut. Your mama was mad at you. Your daddy was mad at you. Nobody took it lightly that you were sleeping with your boyfriend. Like, why don't you just get married? If you're so in love, why don't you get married? Or is your relationship about sex? See? And this is the thing. You can ask any woman or any guy, and the woman and the guys will tell you the same thing. This is why women get disrespected by men. Because women are not men. Women are supposed to be by nature, before they even become a Christian. Women by nature are more chaste and more sacred than men are. I used to think that a woman was everything better, than a man. And she was up until the 90s. And I got married to my ex in 1989. And she had a lot of feminist ways about her and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to mess with none of these women out here in the West. I'm going to the Philippines. And then I'm listening to her and these girls, and I'm like, this is what Western people think. This is how Western people are with their boyfriends and girlfriends. What's the difference? It is no difference. And what they didn't discuss here, they want to discuss it so bad, but they didn't want to, because she trying to look good. But no, some of y'all ain't waiting for even a 3-minute or 3 date rule. Y'all just have sex with certain people, and then certain people, you want them to be, 3 dates in, and you want to call it love after 3 dates, and then if you really, really love somebody, it's like you don't want him, it's like you really don't even want him touching you until you get married. But then it's engraved, I agree with them on that part of it, it's engraved into the culture. And so people are just like used to it. They don't know how to not do it. It would totally, it would make you feel like a bad person if you told your lovers, oh, I'm not going to have sex with you until after marriage. In a way, I think it doesn't bother me that they're part of, this millennium. It doesn't bother me that they are like women of the West when it comes to sex. What bothers me is the way they can sit there and talk about it with no shame. That's what bothers me. Because I can't do that. Like, my friends that are fornicators around me, they're not going to sit around me. I got one guy in my entire life who loves to sit there and show me the pictures of the girls he's looking at and tell me about him and his woman that he don't respect. Neither does he want to marry her, you know what I mean? But he likes to brag about when she giving up the booty, And I mean, like, and I let him know I don't want to hear it, man. Like, I don't want to hear that. Because you think I don't want sex like right now. I want sex. I think about it every day, all the time, but there's one thing that gets in my way. What the heck did I become a Christian for if I cannot keep my body under subjection? That is what a Christian is. But I'm going to let the video play before I talk myself. I'm going to let you hear it from them, and then I'll put myself in there. But before I do that, I want to pause this because I want to get to the point.
Exactly. Don't date multiple people, but you can talk to multiple people because may the best girl win, may the best woman win. You're still getting to know people. Who's the best in talking with me? Who's kinder? Who's understanding?
Well, I've heard from my viewers that some of their girlfriends, they're mad at their boyfriends because they're just, they're watching my channel. So I don't understand that because they're like in a relationship, but it's kind of a.
They're watching because they want to treat you better.
I mean,
how they should
I know.
better.
I'm giving advice on how to make your relationship.
If you're a Filipina and then your boyfriend is trying to watch Miss P, that's because it's for you.
They don't want divided attention, I guess.
And that's why you need to get to know more each other so that you can build trust. Because if I'm the girl and my boyfriend is a foreigner and he's watching the Filipina P, I would appreciate that because I would say that he is trying to know me better because your contents are more on how to date a Filipina,
Exactly.
what it's like to date a Filipina, not unless I see my boyfriend commenting on your video that
One thing I forgot to do.
Like saying I love you.
That's what's
be
wrong.
your boyfriend, and that's the time that I would be.
Like it's a no-no.
Yeah.
But as a Filipina, do we follow the third date rule? Like on the third.
Okay, first of all, I got something to say about her. I want you, if you're a man, to go to her channel. Now, you see how beautiful she is. The Filipina P is the third one in the middle. This is her show. There's her name right there at the top. Okay, under the title of the video, the Filipina P. That's her channel name. Okay? Go to her channel and watch her content and tell me if you're a man that it's not sensual to you, that it doesn't affect you some way as a man. Now, not all of it. Okay, a lot of it, I do watch it because she's giving me information about what I'm to expect when I finally make it down to the Philippines, okay? And that's why I watch her channel. But to say that if somebody else was to give better information and more information, and there are men on here that give better information about the Philippines than she does, and they tend to be a little bit more honest, okay? the thing is, I like to watch her. I like to watch her because I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm single. She's beautiful. Every show is her in these little outfits. Here you got 4 women in the pool looking beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And she's hosting all these beautiful women. I don't find it abnormal for a woman to get a little bit ticked off. Like if I was married, I wouldn't watch this channel. Because I know my wife, I don't care how beautiful my wife is, and I don't care what her jealousy issues are. She would ask me, why are you watching that? She's not doing anything pornographic. But it is a lot of her videos are sensual. According to what she's wearing and the topics that she wants to talk about. Men are thirsty like this. I mean, I'm single. Now, I don't understand why these men that got Filipinas, are watching her. They need to be worried about their Filipinas out there, okay? Let me turn this back on. I need the light. They need to be worried about their... my bad. Oops, my bad. Turn that off. They need to be worried about their Filipinas out there doing TikTok and being in other passport bro videos with other men and all this stuff while they in there looking at her. It goes both ways, okay? She's getting ready to talk about the 3. I want you to go to her channel. And I want you, if you go to her channel, I want you to start posting stuff on my videos about her. Okay, I'm not against her. I'm not trying to run a campaign against her. I am totally smitten by this girl. And most men that watch her content are. I'm totally smitten by her, not because of her sensuality. And cross my heart, so help me God. I'm smitten by her because I really believe that she is out of her lane as far as where she stands in the world. Like, I believe, and I'm not saying this because I don't think I would want to marry somebody as young as her. Even if she's perfect for me, okay? I wouldn't want to marry somebody that young because I just don't trust it, okay? Maybe another 10, 20 years older than her, but the thing is, she's getting ready to talk about body count like it's a joke, okay? She's getting ready to talk about, in the last video that I watched, there was one she did after this, and I watched that one a little bit ago, and she was on there like, well, people that are into the church should just go to church to find love. You're misinformed, sweetheart. Most people that go to church don't find love in church. Usually you go to a church to where if you date a girl, you dated the only girl that was in there that was your type. When I went to church, none of the girls was my type. And the one girl that was my type, I was scared to death of her. You know what I'm saying? That's another reason why you shouldn't pressure people to, lose their virginity and stuff like that. They messed me up with that. They really did. And it's just as, the pressure is just as hard for the men as it is for the women. Okay? Because it's natural for a man to think of sex and want sex. It's natural for a woman to want a man to... I'm sorry, stop. Women don't want sex like men want sex. Women want sex within their feminine, however you want to pronounce it, capacity. Within that cage, within that bubble that they're in. They're not us. So I don't expect a woman that every time she's bored, she wants to have sex. A man, if he's bored and there's a hot butt walking past him, he wants sex. Or if he turns his TV on and he's looking at a movie star, he wants sex. If he's turning the key to get in his house and he turns his head to the right, he sees a foxy Asian lady walking down the street, he's going to want sex. That's the way we're wired. We think about it all day. We want it over and over again. We never get enough of it. Women, stop trying to be like us. Sure, you want a lot of sex, but you are not us. And when women sit there and they clown sex like it's about them instead of us, because it's not about y'all, it is about us. Now they did say in here, you'll hear it in a second. They did say in here, oh, men, like the Filipina P, she said, and she's 100% right. Men want sex all the time, every second of the day. Yes. But don't sit there and talk like, you know, you're us. You're the same way. Don't sit there. Well, she's. This is one thing I notice about the Filipina P. She says stuff and then she contradicts herself in the same video. Some things women should be complaining about and putting men in their place about, instead of just laughing it off and acting like it's cute, because it's not. Okay? Let me finish here before I run out of time, before I say too much. I got other stuff I want to say, so let me...
Date, you're going to do the horizontal hula or the big bada boom, or like, you know, being intimate, like physically intimate. Do we do that?
I didn't even know there was a rule. I didn't even know.
I even have no idea of the third date rule.
Okay, so if you guys are not familiar with the third date rule, so when exactly is it okay to sleep with someone? How many dates is it okay to sleep with someone?
I think it's the date where you know that he will not leave you.
For like a month or two. So what are you gonna?
Probably like months.
Months
for me. If I wanna have a serious relationship, really.
Yeah.
You know, isuko ang bataan when, you know, we say that in the, you know, in the Philippines, because we are still pretty conservative in that manner. But how long would you say? I mean, do you follow the third date rule, or do you have rules or anything, Fritch?
No, actually, I don't have any idea of that.
Okay.
I just think it would be the right time if you two have to build a connection, build trust, and feel that there is a mutual understanding and feelings between the two of you. But for me, definitely not the first date.
Definitely not the first date. How about second?
I don't know, maybe fifth or...
Okay. Fifth onwards?
Onwards.
Fifth onwards for Fritchie.
I would like to debate that they should remove that rule, because what if someone is pressured that it's a third date, I'm gonna be pressured, or the men will think it's the third date, will be expecting.
I don't think that third date rule should exist.
Yeah,
doesn't make sense. Yeah.
So anyway, guys, we don't really follow the third date rule here. For me, wait. Scanning my memories. Wait lang. Yeah, I think it depends on, as long as it's not rushed, it's not pressured. Because guys here, sometimes, not all, they would trick their girlfriends into giving out their virginity to them. Because if you really love me, you have to...
Yes.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, high school, you know, college.
Yeah.
Have you encountered that? I mean, your friends that been into that situation? Because I had at least 3 that they lost their virginity. Yeah.
Friends.
They would be pressured to just do it.
Especially when it comes to cheating. You're not gonna give me this, so that's why I went to another girl.
Right. And
It doesn't really have anything to do with love. Because if you have sexual feelings for someone, okay, they don't change. If they don't, they're not they're not like catching fish. You know what I'm saying? You better, you got your hook in there and the fish gets a hold of it, and you got to hurry up and pull that fish out, okay, because you'll be waiting all day again. No, it's not like that. It's more like you don't have sex. You save sex for the best. You save sex for the consummation of your marriage. It doesn't mean that you're unsexual. It doesn't mean that you don't have sexual feelings. It doesn't mean that you're lousy in bed. It doesn't mean that you're gay. It means that you, first of all, respect God. It's not about you. It's about God. Okay, I'm going to let them finish because I'm going to say all that again in a minute. Okay, it's not about you. It's about God. It's about your respect for holy matrimony. Okay? Sex is for married people. Point blank. Okay? What would all these women do if they had boyfriends that said, okay, I don't practice sex before marriage? I believe 2 out of the 4 would probably be like, okay, but you love me. Yes, I'm not going anywhere. I'm right here. I'm with you. I'm not going anywhere. But I believe the other 2 would be like, are you gay? What's wrong with you? Like, it's okay. It's our secret. You know what I'm saying? Because she's insecure in that area to where she feels that in this day and time that a man that loves her will have sex with her, or she doesn't want to love from a man that isn't worldly. Women today want men to be worldly, but yet they complain when there is divorce. They complain when a man got one thing on his mind. They complain when they're not kept and the man wants to be out there with his friends instead of keeping her. They complain about all that, okay? They complain about all that, and they shouldn't, okay? They shouldn't complain about that. A man that is slow to hop into bed with his woman is a man that is concentrating on her. She's got his undivided attention. He's focusing on the more important aspects of the relationship. Sex is for married people. What do you have to give your marriage if you're already living together, having sex together? What's the point in getting married? And a lot of people don't get married. Why? Because they're already living together and they're already having sex together. The whole point of marriage is that you don't start living together and having sex together until you get married. So marriage is about, a man and a woman have been together for a while. They understand that they are meant to get married. And so they plan a date and they save up the money and they set everything up. They bring everybody along and they get married. And what are the two most greatest things about a marriage? Is first of all, that new house that y'all have never been in, where the two of you are going to live together. You're going to go get your house together. You're going to go pick your house, and you don't get to sleep in the bed or do anything in that new house until you get married. And so it's like you can't wait to get back from your honeymoon to your new house. The pleasure and the joy doesn't end, because you run off the day that you get married. Okay, you run off, and most people, they don't have sex until they get to the hotel, till they get off the plane when they get married, whether they've been together or not like that. They usually save sex, even after you're free to consummate your marriage now that you're married, but they usually save sex for when they get to the honeymoon spot and they pick their lovely honeymoon spot and they have sex there, and that's a memory that's supposed to last you to your grave, okay? Whether you're a virgin or whether you are, this is secondary virginity to you, okay? And they're going to say something else here. Let me say this. So there's those two things: the marriage, the house, and the consummation of your marriage, which is the night that y'all make love for the first time. It is supposed to be special. It's supposed to be the most special thing that, has ever happened to you. And it can still be, even after you've already lost your virginity a long time ago and you got a body count, okay? It's still the greatest thing that ever happened to you, okay? It still is the greatest thing that ever happened to you. Because you decided that this man is the one. He's the one. And you decided that. Okay? He's the one. Okay? So, let me there's one more thing I wanted to say. Oh, and I'm not condemning people that practice fornication because I understand how easy it is. I understand it's embedded in both of our cultures. It's embedded in their culture, and it's embedded here in the United States too. This is our culture. We practice, sexual immorality. We practice fornication. That's what it is. Okay? We practice fornication like nobody's business here. And it's not always just about, like, women can sleep with a guy that they met on a first date, and that can turn into love later on. Women can meet a guy in the bar. I know guys that they got the best marriage in town, but they met in a bar. She was a bar girl. They met in a bar. Then I met other guys that met their wives in bars, and she's still wishing she could be in a bar. Somebody need to send her butt back to the bar because she ain't no better. But I'm just saying, like, it doesn't matter the fact that you have practiced fornication. I'm not condemning you for that. I'm saying, when does it end? Because if you just had a boyfriend, okay, and y'all were sleeping together, and then you dumped him, and you decided to sleep with somebody else, okay, or you get a new boyfriend, okay, and you're sleeping with him, okay, that kind of body counting is, I don't know, crazy to me. When I meet a woman and she's into me and I'm into her, what I'm concerned about is when did your fornication end? Because I'm not going to commit fornication with you. So you mean to tell me you're going to just jump from a dude that you slept with last night and broke up with last night to me expecting you to be this godly woman, this godly wife? No. There has to be a change. This is why there's a difference between being a born-again Christian and all these titles that people have about Christianity. They think, well, there's Christianity and there's Catholicism if you listen to them talk. In the Philippines, they think, Catholicism is just a more religious version of Christianity, but yet, I don't know if she says it in this video, but one of these girls in this video or the video I just watched, she said that she's Catholic, but she's basically a fornicator because her church doesn't say anything's wrong with it. You know what I mean? Like, Catholics have indulgences and they go to confession because they're taught that they can't ever be free from sin. Okay? There's a fine line between actually being sinless. Dawn! I gotta go back and talk about Dawn the Reborn. There's a fine line between being sinless and being devoted to your faith. There's a fine line between willfully sinning and sins that are by mistake. Okay, there's a fine line. Okay, there is a fine line. Okay, but I'm going to let them finish talking, and then I'm going to finish talking.
It's your fault, and you're going to blame the girl because you didn't...
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't do it. You didn't allow me to pop the cherry. Ladies, the Philippines is considered a Catholic country, so why would you sleep with someone before marriage? Don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not promiscuous. It's just that sometimes it clashes. There's a lot of single moms here in the Philippines, and yet...
She just gave her body count. And it wasn't very small. She's very young. She's only in her 20s. She gave her body count in the last video I just watched. It's a continuation of this one. I don't know how that works where I'm not finding them, but I'm finding them by accident, but she said what her body count was. And she was joking about it, but that's not funny. Like, let me let him finish. Let me let him finish.
We're Catholic. It's a Catholic country. So how does that work with the dating scene? Do you think girls nowadays still believe in no sex before marriage?
I think that is depending on how religious a person can be. Because when I grew up, I was always told to give my virginity to my husband.
There you go.
And unfortunately, that did not happen. But that's because we eventually go to our own way, depending on what our lifestyle is and our experiences is. But we have different morals. It's not. I'm a Catholic, but I'm not that religious. You know, I have my own beliefs, and that is amazing that you've waited until marriage, that you found this someone.
You're not a bad person if you had sex before marriage.
I agree.
That's the model.
You hear what she said? She said that is amazing. But see, they're not believers. They don't believe that these things that God gives us, they don't believe that these things that God gives us are for our own protection, and so that we don't have these body counts and we don't have these, carry this baggage into our marriages. Okay? That's why we practice the law of God. Okay? That's why.
Before I forget as well, this is one of the reasons why teenage pregnancy is just above the rates
And
now.
single moms,
Because of that concept, sex is for.
This is the same. Now, they say over in the Philippines, women are more Christian and women are more submissive, and women. This is the same BS that they talk about over here in the West. They blame the misuse. They blame the misuse of condoms, and one of these girls you're going to hear in a minute. She said, "Well, instead of people trying to practice waiting till marriage to have sex, that's bad education. No, that's biblical education. That's not bad education. Okay, you should be teaching your kid how to use condoms. It's not the baby." Okay, it's not pregnancy that ruins relationships. A baby changes a lot of men's lives when they turn around and find out that their woman is pregnant. Whether they're married or not, it changes his life around completely, especially if he loves that woman. But the thing is, that is not what ruins your relationship. What ruins your relationship is, first of all, how you lost your virginity. And that goes for men and women. How you lost your virginity will determine your relationships down the road. So, should a woman give her virginity to her husband? A man should give his virginity to his wife as well. Yes, you should. Because sex is for the big boys. Sex is for the big women. It's for the grown women. It's not for people playing house. It's not for people who don't know how to stay together. And you know what's pulling you apart? The fact that you had sex before marriage is what is pulling you apart. Is why you have this body count. Because why? Because that element that makes you feel that it's okay to have sex outside of marriage is the same element that tells you that it's okay to break up with people and keep breaking up one after the other and not really trying your best to stay in that relationship. Instead of breaking up, you should be taking that relationship to the next level. Okay? Education for sex and marriage belongs to the Bible. It don't belong to the little teeny bennies having sex. It belongs to those that are Christians. It belongs to the biblical, it belongs to the people of the book. Okay? This is too over your head for you to realize. There's people right now that I know that look just as beautiful as these ladies, and they're having just a good time as these ladies, if not better, and they're happily married. They went years without having sex before they got married. Why? Because they was too busy being a Christian. Because in their quest of living for Jesus, they gave up on the nightlife. They gave up on the secular world. They gave up on the world. As the Bible says, don't love the world or the things of in the world, because the love of the world is enmity against God. Okay, don't love the world. So they love being flashy and having men that like to flash and all the hype and the fancy this and the fancy that and all the toys that go with it and games that people play, games that adults play. They had fun with that. But then one day she realized she wasn't having any fun at all. Just the body count. And you laugh about it and you think it's cute and you think you can teach somebody. You think you're going to teach somebody about sex according to what? Your body count? That's how you're going to teach your daughter about sex? You're going to tell your sons and daughters the birds and bees according to what? Your body count? You only need to be with one man or one woman. What's the difference between being with a man for 40 years and being with a woman for 40 years or more? What's the difference between that and somebody that has had sex with, let's say, 40 men or 40 women? The difference is when you have been able to hold on to one person, one man or woman, for 40 years, okay, not only can you pat yourself on the back, but it's the keeping that you get credit for. It's the knowing how to keep this person in your life. It's the knowing how to preserve that relationship that you want to give yourself credit for. That owes, a banner. That owes an award. That owes a pat on the back. You can be with somebody for 40 years, okay, and you can sleep with 40 men in 10 years. It's the keeping of the relationship, of the sacredness of God in between two people that matters. Okay? But all these people that, like I said, the same thing that causes people to jump into sex is the same demon that causes people to have these high body counts and keep breaking up. And some was just sex, and some were boyfriends, and some were marriages. Some were just sex, some were boyfriends, and some were marriages. Where I come from, there's no such thing as a boyfriend. There's no such thing as a boyfriend. There's no such thing as a girlfriend. Where I come from, you have your friends, and then you have your husbands and your wives. And everybody else are your brothers and sisters in the Lord. That's how close you are. Your brothers and sisters in the Lord. But you don't get to, like she was doing with another YouTuber in the Philippines who was an old expat married to a Filipina. Okay? The way she was sitting all close to him and basically sitting on his lap. That is not the way you keep your marriage safe. You don't do that. Okay? There was enough room in that video to put 4 people in it. There's no reason for her to be all over him in order to show, okay? So I'm sure the woman, if she's saying that women are upset with their men for watching her channels, okay? I'm sure that men are upset with, I'm sure that women are also upset with their men for letting her sit all close to them and all like that. It's one thing, you got brother, you got dad. I'd be careful. You got brother and you got dad, and then you got husband. You don't sit close to anybody else like that. You might sit close to your brother like that. I grew up in a house with 4 lovely cousins. They'd fall asleep on me, I'd fall asleep on them, nothing sexual. But let them finish.
Marriage. Not a lot of people agree with that. Not a lot of people still consider that. So children, because of that, the sex education is lacking so much for our youth, and especially for young women. They do not know. They are shamed, and a lot of young children right now don't know what protections are, where to get it, or they have proper access to it because of the shaming, they won't be able to buy it because of these rules that also doesn't make sense. Like Lipo Prevera, the birth control. Right. In the Philippines, in the States, of course, you have freedom for that, the contraceptives. But here in the Philippines, you're only allowed to have that either you have a child or you're married. So how about those children who just wants to be safe?
I think it's actually 18.
18.
No, here, despite being 18, you cannot get that.
Ladies, would you say that provincial Filipinos are more likely to wait until marriage? Women from remote areas, provinces, Mindanao or Samar area.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because as we can see, most of the Filipinas, mostly teenagers, being pregnant are mostly from
the provinces.
Not to look down, but these are the Filipinas that lack proper sex education.
Yeah.
Because instead of teaching your child to wait until marriage to have sex with people, you should teach them how to be open with contraceptives, how to normalize approaching these people.
No heart, no respect for God in there. Leave God out of it. God designed all this, but leave him out of there. Instead of having your child, just what she said, instead of having your child wait till marriage to have sex, you should be teaching her how to use contraceptives. For what? She's not going to be having sex. Oh, you mean contraceptives in case so she can have sex whenever her little tiny heart, her little tiny body, her little tiny brain feels it's right to have sex, whatever loser she wants to have sex with. Okay.
People and ask for the things that keeps you from becoming a young mom.
I totally agree, because remote areas, most of them, they have more kids than the people in the city, because aside from the fact that they don't have other things to do after dark, but they're most likely not all that educated when it comes to sex education, and some of them are very restrained or deprived. But kids, when you're a young...
So they don't think that the church is educated. They don't think that a biblical education is an education. Okay. I got that.
Hormones, especially guys, they're always thinking about sex every single second, I guess. That's most of the women here are traditional, but I don't think they would wait.
It's very that, and they just spent 20 minutes talking about this. For her to say something like that, and it's true, I'll raise my hand. I'm like that, although I'm in control of it. You know what I mean? I'm in control of that. I keep my body under subjection. For the sake of two things. For the sake of meeting the right woman and for the sake of respect for God. It's not about me. My body belongs to the Lord. The body belongs to the Lord and the Lord for the body. That's what the Bible says. Okay? So, there you have it. Like, these girls got a lot to catch up on, but they think they're the educated ones because they went to college. I think all but one here went to college. And they think they're the educated ones, but because everybody in church doesn't go to college, what about the ones in church that go to college? You think that they don't believe in a biblical education because they went to college? You don't think that they believe in being chaste about their sex lives because they went to college? No. If they're living for God, if they're disciples of Christ, they believe in keeping their bodies sexually under subjection. Romans, the 12th chapter. Read it. Okay?
Like rural, and so like, you know, the people around you and like maybe your village is like only the people that you know. Like sometimes you don't even know like what is out there and like how big the world can be and like how far you can go and like meet so many other different people. Like, so sometimes their mindset can be like, this is the life and like this is what I have to settle for, and you know, they settle for maybe something just like right in their town, and then like if they start their life young and
they're like getting married. I hate to say this, but some of the parents they're just okay with it so that they can just let go of the kids and, you know, you're someone else's problem now, and you know, sometimes they just marry their neighbors and, you know, the people inside the community because they don't know that the world is bigger than the barangay they live in. I know that some Filipinos are very, very uncomfortable with the topics of exes and, you know, body counts or, you know, the previous sexual relationships. Do you think it's important? How about you, Lauren?
Yeah, I think it. I don't know, like, I think, like, I wouldn't judge, but I would want to know and everything, and, like, I think it's just important if you're gonna get, like, sexual, too, maybe take protection and, like, get tested, you know, like, you wouldn't want to be caught up with any, like, lifelong, like, maybe, like, HIVs or anything.
To be honest, I've met a lot of people in the Philippines that for them 3 is a lot.
Yeah.
3 is a lot, and 4 is, like, the maximum. For other people. Like 3 is really a lot. So I'm like, for me 3 is a lot, depending on how many years she's been alive in this world.
Right, exactly.
So telling me a 50-year-old has 3 body counts and that's too much? Okay.
Well, how about you? Do you think it's important if your boyfriend asks you, would you be okay telling him your body count?
Yeah, I would think it would be an important thing because when you are serious with someone, you should be open and you should not be afraid being judged, because if you are confident that that guy really loves you, then he would accept you for who you are. Your present self, and even your past.
Right.
Yeah. That's the sweetest thing I've ever heard.
I know. Well, I don't suppose you ladies want to, you know, tell your real body count?
I said 0.
Okay, so, well, remember, guys, when it comes to women, just times 3. Or, you know, 4 for a Filipino. Well, I think my body count is about... Okay, you guys know I usually save the adult questions for the end of this video. If you need to get the kids out of the room, now is the time. So, I get this question a lot, ladies. How do Filipinas feel about giving or receiving oral gratification? How about you, Angel?
It should be a priority.
Do you think we Filipinos give it too, or do we like receiving it?
We really love receiving, but it's not prioritized for us to be received. Like, not a lot of guys like to give. I think it should be a give and take for both the male and the female. Like, like before you start the heat up, try to both do it to each other, not just one.
Yeah.
Filipinos love that. Filipinos love discovering things.
Oh, I have this friend in college. She doesn't like it. She doesn't like receiving. She likes giving. She doesn't like receiving because for her, in her head, that's dirty. So I was like, what? I'm a pleaser. I always make sure that my man is happy.
Yes.
Because when my man is happy, me is happy.
Yes.
So that's for my, for me. How about you,
I'd
Fridge?
go with that. I'm a pleaser.
Yeah. Oh,
Not
I'm a
really.
pleaser.
Yeah, I'm a pleaser as well.
How about
But I
you,
think
Lauren?
I've been a pleaser too much.
Okay.
Too much. Yeah. I want to be pleased.
You want to be pleased? Okay.
Sure.
Nothing wrong with being pleased. Okay,
But
so
definitely, equal.
I wanna be
Always
pleased again.
consent. If you want to be be open, to say what you want.
right. So, do we locals, do it much? Do you think it's a normal thing? I know for women like us who are more, open-minded in that scenario, do you think an average person, do they do it a lot? Because I know for an older generation, they don't do that much. I have one of my aunts said that she doesn't know how to do it. And her husband wants to do it. It's just that she was so surprised because she was raised very, very conservatively.
Be unchristian.
Do you think in this age and in this day and age, do you think locals do that more? Because obviously there are a lot of ways to learn to do that now.
Yeah,
more prevalent.
especially in the modern world where you can have access to porn. I
Yeah, I
guess.
It's
Yeah.
part of the ritual.
It's part of the ritual now. Okay. Yeah, I would say so. I think younger generation. I think that's
So we're getting more open-minded.
okay.
The women should be compensated with a gift or something.
We have to be compensated. Equal pay. Equal
Yeah,
pay.
equal.
Okay. I'm gonna stop there. As you can see, it's near the end of the video. Anyway, they just rattling on about oral sex, and I didn't want to be funny, but if you've never given anybody oral sex before, and I'm talking to married people, I ain't talking to you fornicators, not married people. If you've never practiced oral sex on someone anymore before, let me tell you let me say how we talk over here in the West. We don't make it a big thing like they're making it over in the Philippines. We simply say this: put it in your mouth. Just put it in your mouth. Goodness. Look, forget all that stuff that you talk about at the parking garage. Like guys used to tell me, back in the day, on my first jobs, they used to try to they was looking for that young man that would come home and tell him about his first experience going down on a woman. You know what I'm saying? And that's totally unnecessary, okay? No. It'll never happen, okay? The thing is, both guys and women, when you're practicing fellatio on your mate, put it in your mouth and get used to it. And then you practice. What you're not going to do, though, is have this body count where you've been practicing, okay? And I know a woman that I was with made the mistake. She had a habit of making the mistake about letting me know where she got her skills from, and she got her skills from men that she'd already been with. Okay, you know what I used to do? I used to climb right out of bed, okay? And I you know what? I want to talk about something else. I want to watch TV. I just want to get some popcorn. I'm really needing an apple pie LMO right now. I don't want to hear this mess. Don't tell me about the men that you've been with and what you did with them. Okay? Now, do I want you to be honest and tell me how many men you've been with? Yes. But am I judging you for being with those men? No. What I'm judging you for is whether I'm just another body count or whether I am the end of your body count. So whether a woman gets married at 19 years old or whether she gets married at 50, 60 years old, her body count ends there. Her body count should end, okay, it should never begin, first of all. But her body count will definitely end the day she gets married. So a man is not going to judge, okay? He just wants to know, hey, I'm the end of your body count. There's no more body counting after me. Okay? You're going to say it like this. Yeah, I was with a lot of men. I had a lot of experience before I got married. And then I found my husband, and it was a whole new ballgame. It was a whole new life for me. Okay? That's the way it is. It's not, you know, some of y'all are so horrible at this. You got sex just for having sex. You got sex with your boyfriend that you never married, and you got sex with your husband, and you've been married like 2 or 3 or 4 times. That's bad. That's really, 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 really bad. Some people say, well, I'd rather not get married because I know if I get married, I'm going to still have a body count. At least you were sincere enough to try to do the right thing. Okay? The best time to have sex, as we've already said, is in holy matrimony. Young folks don't need to be having sex. You don't need to be having sex until you're at the ripe old age to get married. The point of sex is to consummate your relationship with the one you're married to. You don't consummate anything with some dude that you just let take your virginity. You don't consummate anything with your boyfriend or your girlfriend. You consummate your relationship with your husband. Okay? Without sex being waited on until marriage, there's no consummation. Now, any Christian can become a Christian and end the body count and save themselves the rest of their remainder for their husband or their wife. And then they can consummate them, you know, being able to go back to having sex with their wife or their husband, their new wife or their new husband, and it's the best thing that ever happened. Okay? Trust me. Okay? Again, Catholicism is not Christian. They don't understand. Look, let me say it this way. Look, in the beginning were the people of God, who later Jesus called them Christians, or later the Apostle Paul called those people Christian. But there were always the pagan side of it. Okay? When there was Adam and Eve, okay, that led into, Cain running away after he murdered his brother, and he started the nation of the Canaanites, I think. And that, I don't know if Cain started the Canaanites. I might be wrong about that. But he was the first to be a pioneer of a pagan nation, Cain, when he left and he went to be, a vagabond and wander in the wilderness. He was the first to be, a religious person that was not a Christian, okay? Because he murdered his brother, okay? And he gave God the wrong sacrifices. So he was religious in a very ungodly way, and he was the first person to do that. Then there was, the people of Noah's day. Cush, Nimrod, okay? There's always the flip side of it, okay? But God's people were always here first, then religion. This is why. This is very plain and simple. Who has the Bible? Only Christians have the Bible. Catholicism is war against the Bible. They slaughtered the Christians, okay, in 1611, and before that, before they were ever called Catholic, in Jesus' day, they slaughtered Christians over the scrolls and so forth like that. But in 1611, the Vatican slaughtered Christians for the Bible that we know today as the King James Bible. Okay? And it wasn't just the King James Bible, it was the whole Textus Receptus Bible arena, okay? Going all the way back to, the Great Bible, the Tyndale, the Geneva Bible, okay? All those Bibles were Textus Receptus, and they were slaughtered for the Textus Receptus Bibles, okay? The Vatican did that. They burned these pioneers at the stake for the Textus Receptus, okay? And I think I said pretty much everything else, but that's what I wanted to get off my chest. Christianity is not religion. Christianity is just the proper respect for God. The proper names and everything for God are within Christianity. The proper names, the proper worship. It used to be the Jews, but the Jews did what? They rebelled against God, and that rebellion today is called what? Judaism. Okay, and there's other names, other religions that Jews practice, and it ain't just Judaism. But that's religion. Catholicism, religion. Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons, religion. Satanism, religion. Christian Scientists, religion. Masonry, religion. Okay? It's all religion. All right? It's all religion. Okay? But only one of us are the people of God, and those were named by Christ and the Apostle Paul to be Christians. Or you could call us disciples of Christ, or you could simply call us God's people. But we're not Israelites because there's too many of us to be Israelites. Okay? There's too many of us to be Israelites. We're not Israelites. Okay? And we're not any other religion either. We are simply God's people. We are the people of the book. We are the people of the cross. We are Christians. Okay? Catholicism is a religion. It's more about Greek Orthodox mythology mixed with Christianity and all like that. Now, there's a lot of things we can thank the Catholic Church for doing. They were part of, the Bible being posted in the United States, even though they burned Christians, real Christians, at the stake for posting it. Okay? Before it got here, okay? But then when it got here, they wanted to act like they were a part of it, okay? But who are the Christians? Everybody, every religious book out there is derived from the Bible, and they made their own thing out of it. Muslims have a book because we have a Bible. Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses have a Bible. They have books because we got a Bible. The Textus Receptus. And then you got these Christians today, they're hating on the Textus Receptus. They want to run with Alexandria. Retarded, okay? When you think about what these people suffered so that we might have the Textus Receptus untouched. But you want to go with the Alexandrian, which the devil's people didn't fear the Alexandrian. They feared the Textus Receptus. But you can't, I'm going to enjoy what God has given me. Okay? I'm going to enjoy my lonely, non-sexual, not having any fun with a Filipina life. Because they all like Slutville. I'm not saying they're all sluts, but in the Bible, it's the same thing. If you're practicing fornication, that's called whoredom, okay? God don't like it. God don't like it. If you believe in God, what does God want? What does God require? God does not like your fornication. You are going to burn in hell for your fornication. You can be in this Filipina P. She's a very sweet girl, but she is going to burn with all the people beneath her, because a sweet girl like this don't know how to say, hey, you know, I'm a woman of God regardless of how I feel. I'm a woman of God regardless of how beautiful I am, and how much opportunities there are in the world, and dating all these different foreigners, old and young and handsome, and movie stars, and, you know, fancy cars and homes, and going to the West, going to the UK, you know. She's gonna burn. But I am Deroy Cruz, and I'm not saying that to hate on her. I'm just being biblically educated. They don't believe in biblical education, as they said, but that's the educated truth. That ain't the educated guess. That's the educated facts. She's gonna burn in hell with millions, trillions. Well, not trillions. Well, yeah, maybe trillions when you think about all the souls that have died before us. Okay, trillions. Zillions of beautiful Filipinas, white women, black women, Latino women, you know, women from, you know, the Caribbean, you name it, they're all going to burn in hell. Because they rather give that beauty to the world and the devil. And helping their countries be more sexually pure. Do you know what a man, do you realize when Laban told Jacob he had to work for him 7 years to get Rachel? He couldn't sleep with Rachel. He probably couldn't even touch Rachel. He probably couldn't even be in the same room with Rachel. But he wanted Rachel so bad. He ended up working 14 years for Rachel before he ever laid down with her. Okay? And Jacob never married any other women except the two that Laban gave him. He only wanted Rachel. Laban gave him her sister, her older sister too. Okay? And I think he had more children with Leah than he did with Rachel, because Rachel spent some time being barren. Okay? But thank God he had Leah, or he wouldn't have had no children. You know, but it wasn't fair to Jacob that he was given 2 wives when he was happy with one, because he works 14 years for just Rachel. Okay? If Jacob can do it, I can do it too. Amen? Amen. God bless you. I am Deroy Cruz. I am your Life Applications Officer. This has been a pleasure. I know it was long, but I hope you had a great time. God bless you.